okay. I think everything is okay. I'm well prepared as far as the presentation is concerned. So I don't have a worry. I'm just going to see what the juries are going to bring on. See how I can tackle. It's my work. I will do myself. So I believe it will not be something that do I look like?
Absolutely not.
Okay, thank you very much.
Well, I must start by saying that I'm very happy today. Today is quite a special day. Although I must confess that I'm feeling a little nervous too, because my closeness to Modest makes me feel as if it's actually my thing. So I'm a little bit nervous too. I think it is not actually a surprise. I've known Modest since 2010 when we first came into university, and since then he has kept on popping up with marvelous results, especially in language courses, which is exceptionally good in them. So seeing him defend today is not actually a surprise. But what is surprising has always been his ability to pull out better results at each time. I mean, if he does something at this level, in level 1, level 2, he comes up with something better, and level 3 even better. I think that is what has been quite surprising, and I think it's quite an example for us all. And I hope that as he defends today, everything will go well. There's a saying that all that begins well ends well. I see him, he is already well prepared, everything is set, and I must say that I'm sure we are in for a blast. I'm sure he will give us something very good, as we have always had of him.
Thank you very much. We're here to listen to Modest, Nuel, Ambe. The defense is MA pieces entitled Evidence, page 450, the Indian utterances, some Pentecostal church services.
The President and the honorable members of the jury, thank you for granting me the opportunity to present on the topic evidencing performativity in healing utterances in some Pentecostal church services. The President and the honorable members of the jury, this work investigates language used in Christian churches, specifically the Pentecostal churches. Because of the performative and descriptive divide in linguistic circles, this work investigates the nature of healing and deliverance language in Pentecostal churches. Mr. President, the work aims to demonstrate the performative nature of healing language in Pentecostal churches. We also aim to identify the different speech acts that are performed during healing and deliverance. Mr. President, we also intend to demonstrate that in a specific situation, the action of a statement equates or is equal to the doing of an action. Mr. President, distinguished and honorable members of the jury, this work was motivated by a number of factors. Firstly, the rate at which Pentecostal preaching, especially on healing and deliverance, marvels and persuades people from their original churches or their original denominations motivated us. We were also motivated by the relative lack of literature in this domain. We also intended to investigate to actually know what goes on in Pentecostal churches. Mr. President, distinguished members of the jury, for a better understanding of what obtains in these churches, we intended to we sought to answer the following research questions. What function does language perform during healing and deliverance sessions in Pentecostal churches? What are the different speech acts performed? The answers to the first two questions are going to answer the ultimate research question, which is what is the nature of the healing and deliverance language in Pentecostal churches. Mr. President, honorable members of the jury, the framework for analysis employed in this work is the speech act theory propounded by Austin 1962, further expanded on by Sale 1969. It is a threefold theory of meaning which states that for somebody to explain the meaning of a linguistic utterance, the person needs to look into the rules that govern the use of those utterances. Mr. President, the speech act theory has three parts: the locution, the elocution, and the perlocution. The elocution refers to the uttering of words. The elocutionary means the saying something with an intention, and the perlocution is saying something and that thing having an effect on somebody. Mr. President and distinguished jury, the speech act theory identifies 5 categories of speech act. These are the assertive, the commissive, the declarative, the directive, and the expressive. But for someone to successfully perform a speech act, the utterance must adhere to certain conditions. This is what is called the felicity conditions for the performance of speech acts. Mr. President and the distinguished members of the jury, the data for this study comprises 9 recorded healing and deliverance videos from 2 Pentecostal churches showcasing the process of healing and deliverance. The data was obtained through various means. We got some of the videos from the archives shops of the churches, while others were downloaded from the YouTube channels. The collection of data was also, we also followed particular procedures in order to collect the data. Because, so the objective of the studies determined which data we had to collect, the length of a video, and the possibility for a video to signal speech acts was also considered. The content of the video, the quality of the video, and the availability of data actually influenced our collection of data. Distinguished jury, the selection of a case study was determined by a number of factors. First, we had to look at the reputation of the church on the notion of healing and deliverance. Its popularity, its influence, its sphere of influence, the geographical location it can cover was also looked at. So even access to the institutions and the availability of data was also one of the considerations we looked into. Mr. President, distinguished members of the jury, as far as data analysis is concerned, we used a quantitative approach to data analysis. Using the 5 typology of speech acts, the data was presented on tabular form for clearer identification and appreciation. The individual speech acts were identified, and the frequency of occurrence was presented too. Mr. President, for a better understanding of the results, they were presented in percentages on charts and tables. distinguished jury, like any other human endeavor, this work wasn't a smooth sail. As such, we recorded a number of difficulties. It was difficult for us getting data that the most important. The quality of some of the videos were also bad. Well, the quality of some of the videos was bad, so it therefore rendered transcription difficult. So we also had financial difficulties. This didn't permit us to travel to places like Nigeria, where we could attend live service at the Synagogue Church of All Nations to collect that data. We also had a problem of time management. At certain points, we had to stop working because we had to attend to other duties. Mr. President, distinguished members of the jury, after a careful analysis of the data, we came to the following result. Out of the 653 speech utterances analyzed in the data, 26 of them acted as assertive speech acts, 15 acted as declaratives, 545 acted as directives, and 67 acted as expressive speech acts. Assertive speech acts were exemplified by the following. Jesus is greater than you. You powerless in the face of Jesus. He is the King of Kings. He is the Creator. As far as declaratives are concerned, we had the following. You are declared free in the name of Jesus Christ. Be free in Jesus' name. You are free. Your time has expired. For directives, we have the following. What is the name that you don't like? What is in the name? Why do you decide to go but in the form of a God? Come back here. Out in the mighty name of Jesus. Out. Stand up. Move like a snake. Move. Move like a fish. Now stand up. Come back here. Stand up. Attention. Mr. President, distinguished members of the jury. We also had the following cases of expressive speech acts. Thank you, Lord. Okay, your son was seized from you because of pride. You are the master, his boss, the boss of the boss, uncalmness. You don't want to tell me. You want to do your job. Distinguished jury, after a careful analysis of the data, we also found that the speakers may appeal to 13 different speech acts from 4 different speech act categories. They occurred at the following percentage frequency. So we had the act of acknowledging, which occurred which was exemplified by 17 utterances at a percentage of 2.6. We had assertives 6 times at a percentage of 0.9. We have declaring at 15 of them at a rate of 2.3. We had informing 8 times at 1.2. Instructing 65 times 10%. Altering 107 times at 16.4%. Prohibiting 7 times at 1.1. 7 times at 1.1, questioning 333 times at 51%, requesting 33 times at 5.1%, saying 1 time at 0.2%, stating 11 times at 1.7, surprise 39 times at 6%, and thanking 11 times at 1.7. Okay, this is a bar chart showing the results. Mr. President, distinguished members of the jury, the results also revealed the use of explicit and implicit deformity. Out of the 653 utterances in this study, we had 10 examples of explicit deformities and 643 examples of implicit deformity. We also noticed the use of direct and indirect speech acts. Mr. President, distinguished members of the jury, the results led to the following implications. It showed that the language of healing and deliverance in Pentecostal churches is performative in nature. It equally showed that healing and deliverance is a complex act which involves or which encompasses many other acts. Mr. President, distinguished members of the jury, the results led to a very salient implication. They imply that even though much needs to be proven, to hear or to deliver someone is to utter maybe some of the following utterances under appropriate circumstances. Who are you? What do you want from her? Where are you from? How do you do it? Out, stand up, run, come back, speak. You are the boss. You are free in Jesus' name. Mr. President and distinguished members of the jury, the work consisted of 5 chapters. Chapter 1 is the general introduction and includes the goals, motivations, research lessons, events, and the research design. In chapter 2, we have the theoretical framework and the review of literature. In chapter 3, we have the research methodology. Chapter 4 is the data analysis and interpretation. In chapter 5 is the conclusion, which features key findings, limitations, and the suggestions for further research. Mr. President and the distinguished members of the jury, this work is far from being exhaustive. Just the locutionary and the illocutionary aspects of the speech acts have been investigated in this study. As such, we think it's going to be of good interest for us if somebody does another research on the performative aspect of this language. This is going to help us understand whether what we see in these churches is actually what happens, or it is just something enacted to publicize the church. We also think it would be good for somebody to investigate the grammar of the languages of these preachers and their use of code switching. Mr. President and the honorable members of the jury, thank you for your keen attention. I now submit the work for your thorough examination to enable it become a better piece for academic consumption.
Okay, thank you, Modest. I think you can ask Dr. Yaounde, who is the chief examiner, to first examine your work.
Thank you, Mr. President. Evidencing performativity in healing utterances in some Pentecostal church services. Mr. President, I read the work with much interest because it touches on current issues. Before I ask questions, I question the candidate, I'll make a number of remarks. I think he chose the right frame for analysis. That's a speech act theory, given that his work falls within the context of discourse analysis. I appreciate the translation. It was well done, contrary to some translations we see in our defenses. I'll call on him to look at page 8. The spacing, you're supposed to, that's a double spacing, it's not correct. On page 8 of the work, we need double spacing. That's some sort of cheating, quote, to increase the volume of work. I think the literature review is rich and relevant, but I have some worries with the structure of the work, because if you look at chapter 1 has 20 pages, chapter 2 33 pages, chapter 3 5 pages. A chapter of 5 pages in the work of this nature. Then you go to chapter 4, which is 46 pages, and then chapter 5 12 pages. There's some inconsistency in the structure, but I think he has a good mastery of the language with very few errors in the work. Go through the work. The work is neat with few typographic errors. This is a sign of some seriousness on the part of the candidate. And I also asked him, if you look at tables 6, 7, and 8, he should reduce them to 1 page. Yes, they cover 2 pages. Tables should be on 1 page. If reduce the spacing in your table so that all on 1 page, not 2. As concerns your references, I realize that some authors cited in the work are not found in the list of references. For example, look at page 7. Jaworski and Copeland, 1997. It's on page 7. It's not found in the references. Greece, 1995, is not there. Merriam-Webster Dictionary, page 17. Krieger, 2008. Fry, 1981. Bygone, 19. All these are found in the work, but not in the references. So should you just copy some work which had these authors? I just want to know, how did you get the information from these authors?
Yes, Prof. I have the references. It's just
These are just a few. There are many which are not found in the references. So please make sure that when correcting the work, you either take them out completely from your work, or if you include them in the work, then they should be found in the references. That said, I have a number of questions for the candidates. In your presentation, you talked of the lack of means to travel to Nigeria. If you knew you didn't have means, why did you choose a faraway church?
We chose as I was saying on the choice of the case study, we had to look for churches which could give us the data that we want. There is not we have Pentecostal churches in Cameroon, many of them, but not all of them can give us the data we wanted. The data, we decided to look for works which for videos or data which was specifically in English, and one of the churches which does that very well is a Synagogue Church of All Nations, and it is very popular with the nation of people. We decided to, since we could also get the videos from its YouTube channel, I thought it was done that.
You use different types of speech acts: assertive, directive, declarative, expressive, commissive. Can you please give us the difference between those?
Okay. The assertive speech act, and as we use an assertive to show that something, the superiority of something. You can use an assertive to say whether something is true or false, to show whether it is superior to something or not, to assert something, just like the verb itself, the word says. You can use it to assert something. For expressive, you can use the expressive speech act to air out your emotions, like you heard in the presentations. You are his boss. Now that will be determined by the tone of the speaker. So you can use the expressive speech act to air out emotions. And the commissive, you use a commissive to commit yourself to doing something. For example, you can promise somebody, okay, tomorrow I will bring you something. That will be commissive. Committing yourself to doing something tomorrow. Then declarative, you use a declarative to declare something, just like the verb says, to declare. Like I declare you free from the demon. I declare you husband and wife, said by maybe a court registrar. And then you have the directive, which is used either to make commands, to direct somebody to ask questions. So those are the different.
In your analysis, analyzing the data, did you find any cases of commissive speech acts?
No, but we didn't come across that commissive speech act.
Means promises are not made.
Yes,
in those churches.
Because we didn't find it. It means commissives are not actually part of the language.
See that category, maybe now to come back to it. Some of the categories, the appendices, maybe one can disagree. You say, "Who are you?" is directive. How? In what sense?
It's a directive. It is a question.
Who are you? Like the guy say, "Who are you?" Action is directed to the spirit within the person.
It falls under the category of directive, but it is a question. So it is an act of questioning.
So you needed to explain that very well in your theoretical lesson, which I didn't see. So you have to
and the
explain
question
that.
is a rhetorical question.
It's rhetorical here.
Because there is no answer to it.
Yes. this is what I found problematic with the category.
Is that not a challenge? Can that not be a challenge? Who are you?
It can be a challenge.
Can it be considered as a challenge?
It can be a challenge.
Pragmatic.
It's pragmatic, depending on the tone.
The context.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge. It's a threat, and it's now kind of expecting that spirit to react. Okay, if you are who you think you are something or somebody.
Prof, maybe let me say something about that. The fact that it is a rhetorical question in this case because our focus is on the language of the speaker. We're not actually interested in the utterances of the spirit. The spirit of the victim.
Whatever. We are saying that your theory we accept, but you could also include other theories, or you could also argue that theory in the way that would suit the data. Yeah, most of the things you present here as it does not suit the theory entirely. And in research, you can modulate the theory, you can look for some other things, we'll come to that, okay? Yeah.
What difference do you make between what you call the explicit and the implicit performatives?
Okay, for an explicit performative, we have the verb that describes the action. For example, if you say, I command you, we have the verb command. That makes the action that is being performed explicit. But if we have another one like, I'll be here tomorrow, that can be a promise. But now it is implicit. It is now for you to see what, to look into the meaning, to see what the person means. That is implicit. You have to infer, you have to use inference to understand what. Yes, in context.
So what can you say is the difference?
Okay, the difference
Giving examples.
The difference between the explicit and the implicit performative is that in the explicit performative, the verb is clearly stated. The verb that describes the action is clearly stated.
Whereas
in the implicit, it is not stated. It is you're supposed to use your understanding of the context of the use in order to understand it.
let me just ask you a question. Are you an anti-Trump? I'm asking the question because if you go to page 1 and he takes example, page 1 down, there are 2 examples. Trump is a racist and Obama is. I just want to know are you an anti-Trump? Why did you take that example?
Because I took that example because in recent rhetorics, political rhetorics, especially about America, many people have been looking up to him in that light. Many people hold the view that he is a racist.
Have you made a survey?
No, following from TV news, from news and all of that. It's just that is so slow.
No, the point is that you should stay away from search and engagement.
Yes.
But you give the source. Okay, if you picked up from CNN.
Because you didn't give a source, you just gave it as an example without giving us a source. So it makes me believe that this comes from you. Now, in the work, you cited a number of pastors, Joshua, Afangwi, and Rashid, and you say they really heal people. That's on page 7. This is what you say, let me quote. They heal and command the spirit of sickness to get out of victims in the name of Jesus Christ. Now the question is, do you really believe that these pastors do that?
Okay, thank you.
Do they really heal people?
Actually, I can't say they heal people because this actually doesn't fall in the line of the study. The limitation of the study doesn't exceed that level. But for this one, it is actually information about the institution, the church. And I wouldn't want to endeavor to enter into the discourse of whether it is a heal or not. Because I haven't investigated, I haven't looked at the perlocutionary aspect of the healing. If we look at that, then we'll be sure we will know whether it actually do or not.
But that's how you declare your work.
Actually, citing somebody.
No,
From
I'm the one citing you. On page 7, you say they heal and command the spirit of sickness to get out of victims in the name of Jesus Christ.
Do you know where it comes from? On page 7 at the top.
Yes.
Do you know where it comes from? According to information on their website, and the website is not acknowledged. You have not given it. So we cannot go back to it. So don't
Take it. Somewhere,
note it down as a correction.
somewhere in your work, that's on page 4, it is said that the proliferation of Pentecostal churches is due to the socio-political, economic, and moral landscape. Thus, Pentecostalism is a way out for the needy against ills as poverty and ill health. If you take a look at what is happening today, this is the question. If you take a look at what's happening today in some of these churches in Cameroon, where cases of rape, child abuse, fornication are reported, do you think that these churches or the so-called prophets are a way for the needy?
okay, well, I wouldn't really agree with that because of what happens in the church, because of what we've seen. The fact that people are being raped, people divorce because of that. And but when you look at their preaching, because Pentecostal preaching is mostly about
Taking people out of poverty.
yes. So that is actually, but now that is when you look at it, you see that is what takes the people out of the church, their original churches. So, but I can't really say 100% if it is a way out because of its negative aspects.
So you don't have a standpoint.
Yeah, an MA student. Maybe you will
Or you change on that, you will have take a stand, right?
Since we didn't also actually go, since it is not something of technical research, we have to investigate to see who can actually do it.
That's why I was asking if you just believe. I use the word believe.
But belief is not subjective.
It's scientific research.
Empirical.
Yes. I just asked if you believe in that. You don't know.
I do believe in God, but I don't know if it is only in these churches that can happen. So I believe that maybe through Christianity you can become rich. I mean, if you follow the values of it, you may become rich. But I don't know if it is only in these Pentecostal churches that can happen.
Good. On page 5, paragraph 1, you hold that only a few works have been carried out on the role of languages. Are you convinced of this statement? Only a few works have been carried out on the role of languages. Page 5, paragraph 1. That's the second sentence. A few works have been carried out on the role of language.
I didn't say only.
Okay, a few works.
Yes. By that, maybe I should have said some words. There's maybe a few. I actually didn't mean
Yes,
that.
is the word the word choice is important. The word choice is very important in a work like this.
And I'm not stopping you. If you put your finger on that page and then go to page 54 at the bottom, where after reviewing all your literature, go to 54, that last paragraph, where you're so hard on other authors by saying they have failed. So they failed to win. I said, no, you're too hard.
These works, though relevant on the current study, have all failed.
They failed.
This is what you say. These works, though relevant to the current study, have all failed to investigate the speech act apparent in the language of healing and deliverance.
That was not the objective.
They've all failed.
So you are too hard. So you have to use a language of moderation. Where you're still beginning, you cannot say that.
Have you seen it on page 54?
No, that's 55. You're on 55.
Yeah, 55. 54. Yeah, that last
The
paragraph.
last paragraph, somewhere from the middle.
Yeah.
These works. Seen it?
In fact, and in particular, in fact, none of the works presented was carried out.
Copy of deliverance.
Were they supposed to do that? They were obliged to do that. That's why I didn't find literature on this topic, so that's why I'm very into the topic. You are not supposed, you are not obliged to work on deliverance for you to have a place. Right? So we have to calm down.
You use Austin's speech theory extensively in your work, which is good. But I just want to ask you, can you state what's the theory all about?
The theory is a theory of meaning, which states that by saying something, you actually either you do it, you are partly doing what you say, or you actually doing it. So by saying is doing. So by saying something, you actually engage in the act.
That's pragmatic.
That's pragmatic.
Go on.
Let me take before. Okay, now by saying you are doing. Okay, now a priest and I say I bless you, and the priest says I bless you. You will be more convinced with one rather than the other.
Yes.
Okay, so there is also the
Context. There are conditions for you to for the doing to actually be.
so the truth and the untruth value of statements. Okay, so there can be hypocrisy in it. Do we accept? So one element that we could also exploit is the hidden motive in some of these statements. That is, how the true value of all the speech acts. By saying, get out, does the spirit actually get out? By saying, I command you to get out, is there any chance that that person has the illocution, what we call the illocutional force to do it? Can it actually get out? That's all the...
Yes, but that was actually under the section for further research, where I talked on the perlocutionary effect. Yes. Because once you investigate the perlocutionary effect, you're actually going to know whether, by saying those things, by saying that this person is healed, the person is actually.
Do you have the authority
Yes.
to say? Because he gives an example between him and the priest.
Yes.
Who has the authority?
The priest has the authority. Because actually, for it to be successful, there are conditions that are to be put in place. First of all, you should be the person designated to do the act, and the circumstance. It should be in the circumstances. There are circumstances that you must put in place. Therefore, if it is something like a marriage, it shouldn't just be somewhere in the bush or something like that. There are particular conditions that have to be put in place.
But there are circumstances where saying it
Doesn't
you cannot reverse it.
Yes.
Saying it, okay, let me give you an example. A judge, in reading his sentence, instead of saying, I sentence you to 6 months, I say, I sentence you to 6 years. There's no way you
can reverse it.
You not reverse it because it has gone. Agree? So it's doing there. It can be erroneous.
Saying is doing.
Saying is doing, and it has a serious effect.
Because in other cases you can actually do, but the act is not effective. Therefore, like he said, like Prof said, in the case of him and a priest, if he tells somebody, "I bless you," it is considered that the act is performed, but the act is not. It is void, so it doesn't have any effect.
He asked you a simple question, you answered most of the fact. He said, can you state Austin theory in a sentence? Say it again. What is the theory all about?
Okay. It is a theory of meaning which holds that the meaning of linguistic expressions can be explained by the rules governing the use of that language.
In every speech act every speech act performed has 3 components. That's the beginning. every speech act we perform has three components. Which means
the elocution,
yes,
the collocution.
Yeah, before we go to other,
Before you start explaining,
okay?
the other aspect.
Yeah.
Good. Now, on page 41, you paraphrase 20. Page 41. You paraphrase 2000 as saying that homilies, rhetorical devices, as used in churches, are meant to persuade Christians to accept the gospel without questioning. Now, the question is, does this mean that church preaching is dogmatic and should not be questioned? The Christian has no say, from what you're saying. The Christian has no say, even if he or she thinks that what the preacher is saying is not correct. Is that what you mean? Is it a dogma? If I tell you a lie,
Well,
even if you know it's a lie, you accept because you don't.
If you want to go by
Christian.
if you want to go by 20, then it mean that religion is actual. But as you know, if you go by the Bible, you see that religion is dogmatic. And according to the Quentin himself, it means that it is dogmatic.
And what is your position?
My position. Okay.
As a researcher in this field,
As a researcher, because I believe that for you to carry out scientific research, you must be objective. You don't have to accept everything the way it is. You have to create something. So I believe in the church, if you want to believe it, then it should remain in the church. But the moment you step out of the church, you can start doing
change your
research.
belief?
No, not changing your belief. I mean, as a researcher, the moment you step into the church, if you want to, you believe it that way to be dogmatic. But the moment you step out of the church and become a researcher, then you should be able to question.
Mr. President, I'll just throw one last question.
I'd like to go back to that issue. The question is not whether it is dogmatic or not. It is that it lends itself to several interpretations. And that is why you have different denominations coming out. That's why you have different versions of the Bible. We have the Good News version. Some pastors refuse it and take the New International Version. Some take the King James Version because some renditions of it are not the same. Some churches talk of baptism as immersion, some accept it as affusion, sprinkling, and so it gives itself. The Bible lends itself to multiple interpretations, certain parts. So if we use a speech act theory, as we said, okay, you find that the Bible is not dogmatic, as I say, because it lends itself to several interpretations.
One last question. What do you think has been your contribution to science?
Okay. I think this work is significant in the sense that it gives another perspective, especially for those who are interested in religious discourse. Anybody who is interested in religious discourse has another perspective from which he can investigate or analyze religious language. So, and it gives extra literature for those who want to do this work.
Thank you, Mr. President. As modest as he is. Okay, thank you. I think I will speak less and last. Maybe
Okay, let me
say something in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question too, from my own understanding. The churches, the synagogue as well as kingship, they talk of healing services. Why don't they talk of curing services? Why don't they talk of treating services? You understand? Why do they prefer healing rather than curing or treating? We know that in hospital doctors treat or medicines are used to cure illnesses. Okay, we may say they heal well, but why do they emphasize on the word healing? Does it ring a bell? Does it mean anything to you?
Okay, well, since I didn't investigate into that, but I think investigate if I'll have to investigate more to know something like that.
Well, I think healing is because you cannot see it. It's innate. It can heal somebody spiritually. Okay? And so it will be difficult for you to come. You can be healed spiritually or psychologically. Alright? You can still have a wound, but you have been healed psychologically. You now accept the wound and you move on. You've received some healing. Okay? And then what we talk of commissives, commitment. Okay? Don't you think there's an implicit act of committing himself? If the guy says you are healed and the next day you are not healed, don't you think by saying you are healed he commits himself to showing the world that the next few days that person is healed, whether it's explicit or implicit? Don't you see that possibility, Mother?
It's a possibility, but it actually goes out of the frame, the scope of the work, because we limited ourselves to what happens there at the moment of healing. That is from the beginning of the deliverance to the end. We didn't think of the aftermath.
But the end, according to the analysis, is when the preacher has pronounced it. Okay? We don't move on beyond that level to find out whether the person actually got healed or not. Alright? And we didn't.
I should come back later and continue with a few things. Yeah, thank you. I think as I said, I will speak less because my general impression about the work is I always look at context. We are operating in the context where students virtually don't have a lot of literature that they can read. They don't have a lot of very good models like in European countries. And so whenever I look at student work in this context, I look at it from this perspective. And when I got this work, actually the work was sent to me for review by the doctorate. And I did that thing in less than 1 hour. It was just flowing. Within 1 hour, I did the review, and the next day I submitted the report. I was surprised only now that they were asking, the process of defense has taken so long. I thought it would come the next 1 month, but the review didn't take time. And so I think I like his write-up. He writes very, very smoothly and by all standards. I mean the standard that we know here, EMS, I think this is a very good work in terms of writing. Okay? And so he's somebody that we have to encourage, please. The other positive thing is technology. I like that he tried to use a PowerPoint, even though the PowerPoint was not well done, but already is something very good, You need to also improve that skill of PowerPoint presentation. And I think I've not seen that. Maybe you have that here all the time, around time also. But I think it's a very good point that you try to also involve yourself with technology, because if there's anything you have to do here after this level, outside this country, you'll be touching technology, PowerPoint presentation, how you do webcam and all those stuff things. So I think I like that. And then the other positive point about the work is what I think. Well, let me come to the other thing that I don't want to go page by page because I like the work. That's clear. I don't want to go page by page to then make it look bizarre in front of this beautiful audience. But I want to say that there are a number of issues in the methodology that there are structural issues. I'll just give you one very pertinent one. You analyze 9 videos and you want to present the occurrences of the crisis thing in all those 9 videos, video by yeah, which is not good. It's redundant. I would like you to have a complex table where you line 1 to 10 the features of according to crisis, and then video 1, 2, 3, and we see them all in one plane. And then you move on to take one plane and then you do analysis. But here you like, take each video line the 10, take the other video line the 10, and it makes the work very, very, very cumbersome. So you can't as well. And the other thing is that whenever you have a table, for example, it looks like your interpretation of theory is, theory, you have to look at theory with criticism. You take a theory, you don't have to adapt it in total. For example, there are some of the things that have 0, 0 occurrence in it. If an occurrence does not appear, that table should not have that rubric. You understand? If 10 commissive do not appear, in that video don't put commissive and you put 0, 0. It doesn't make sense. Let us see what is important, what is not important, you take it out. And then because that data gives you that, you can then help to, criticize Austin theory. After all, this is a theory that is dated 1962, when you were not, maybe your father was not even born, 1962, and it has been superseded by many other criticisms, which you don't have access to, and I can forgive you, but as I said, the context is important. And the other thing is very important for this kind of qualitative research. You gather data and the data is not coded. When I get through your examples, I cannot determine whether all the examples are coming from one or two videos, or they reflect the wide spectrum of the general videos. Because at the end of the example, you didn't give me the origin of that example. Video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4. Very important for this kind of research, okay?
That's very important.
Very important. Yeah. And your example should be numbered consecutively. If at the end of this phase you have examined 200 examples, let me see 1 to 200. So I can always ask you, go to example 35 on page 5. But you see, you put them here in bold, just go on and then, okay? You have to fix them because I know you move to the next level of study, which is very important. And then the other thing is, of course, I've already mentioned that some of the categories in the appendix disagree, but that is done. The other thing is your tables. There is a principle on table. These people live ENS, who are from ENS, they know. You always introduce a table.
Yes.
Get a table and you always analyze the table. So there's a relationship. Introduction, the table, and then some comment in the table. You don't have to see a table parachuted. This is a general term that we know. You don't just read and then you see a table coming, and then we move out without commenting on the table. Okay? These are some of the things that I found a little bit problematic with the book. And then the last thing is your literature review. And this is also very important if you want to pursue a career in academics. You don't list literature. You don't list, you discuss. You don't say A said this, B said this, D said this. No, you don't say that. What if A says something that B has said? I mean, you will be repeating yourself. But if you take the issues, and then you can then cite A, B as, citation. You understand me? You don't. Thematic review. You do thematic review the issues, and you background the authors. The authors come in as citation, right? All along I see that you start your literature and say X said this, Y said this, and so on. So that you avoid that in your next major project. Presentation, switch out again. Text examples have to be coded. I think I've said that. Appendices directives, not really directive, we've said that. And then somewhere you said initially there were 15 videos. You selected 9. What was that? You didn't say that in your presentation. Your presentation just said we had 9 videos, but somewhere you said initially there were 15, but you selected 9. Why did you select 15 and what made you reject the other?
Okay, but like I said, we had to look at the quality of the video because some of the videos was difficult for us to transcribe them because of the quality.
Okay.
So we had to reject them.
Okay, so I think with that, sincerely, as I said, we can commend his work for language, really. And for the effort he has made to be able to put something like this together. It's not easy. I think I'm highly positive about the work. But you have to come, you take my copy, and then those things you will touch them before you can put it on the shelf. Otherwise, your brother sitting behind will check it tomorrow and say, this is the way it is, this is here. We'll find ourselves the next year with the same kind of errors, the same kind of comments.
You cross-check your analysis of each table and make sure that the
It's
figures...
actually expressive. Is it expressive?
Yeah, it's an expressive...
Declarative and this.
No, it is a declarative. That is
5.3%.
No, 5.3
Yeah.
is expressive. Expressive and declarative.
Yeah.
Which is 5.3.
Yeah, 5.3. And then the use is 6, not 5. So 5 will not give you 5.3, except that the calculation is wrong.
Really?
But please check those, your figures and the analysis of each table and make sure that the figures correspond.
This table is very, very heavy. This table is very big. Good. Okay, so please, maybe give us some time to do the deliberation. That this is definitely a good piece of work, of course, in our university, in our context, okay? And so we thought that this topic is current and relevant, and that the candidate chose acceptable theological frame, what is career friendly. And the presentation was convincing and technology savvy. However, as we have noted, some small problems of method that you have to fix before these cases can be put on the shelf. On the basis of that, this jury unanimously awarded the candidates the great again.
I just want to say thank you to everybody who made for this event. I want to thank everybody who came for the event. The fact that they turned out in their numbers shows that there is a lot of love flowing towards me, and I really appreciate that a lot. In life, if you don't have love, then you should definitely know that you're not loved. But the fact that they came out today to support me shows that they keep me somewhere in their heart, and I'm really grateful. And I also want to say a very big thank you to Professor Stephen Forte, the head of Department of English, who equals as my supervisor. He's done a lot for me. His contributions to this is actually the key or the brain behind my success here in the university. Even if it doesn't matter how intelligent you are, if you don't have somebody behind you, somebody can always inspire you, then it's going to be difficult for you to succeed. But he was always there for me. And he was always there for me. I can't go without saying a very, 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 very big thank you to the family. I believe you saw them all, my mom, my dad, the sisters, and friends of friends who came. I believe we are all family though. It is not like we must be from my family before. We must have the same blood flow in our veins before we come to before we are called families. The people of the department, I know during the course of my how many years? I came in 2010. This is 2017. 7 years?
7 years.
7 years staying in the university. I've met a lot of people, a lot of senior students, a lot of PhD students. I want to comment on the efforts of Mr. Azani Charles, who's always been there for me. He's done everything he could to ensure that my stay in this department is a good one. He's helped me in every way that you can imagine. as far as the student is concerned. I can't go without saying thank you to Mr. Dr. Tango Edin, Dr. Berinya Jude, and the other seniors. I will not remember the names now, there's so many of them. But I mean, I've really learned a lot from them. I've really gained a lot from them.